So last week I checked out the Xiaomi Mix Fold 2, which if we're going purely by hardware aesthetics and in-hand feel, that phone made the Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 4 look and feel a little bit clunky. And now the same thing is happening to Samsung's flip phone, the Z Flip 4. While this phone in a vacuum looks great and feel premium, if you actually compare it side by side against the new 2022 Motorola RAZR, suddenly the Flip 4 look a little bit outdated too. You have a harsh crease that runs along the middle of the screen. You have a clamshell foldable that actually doesn't fold completely flat, leaving a gap that you can actually see through. And the outside cover screen is just a little bit too cramped to do anything. But just like the Xiaomi Mix Fold 2, for some reason the new Motorola RAZR is only selling in China right now. Although I have a feeling the phone will eventually make it to markets like the US, because Motorola had previously sold its foldable phones there before. But even if that happens, I don't think Samsung has too much to worry about, because even though the new Motorola RAZR has a much sleeker, sexier design, there's more to a foldable phone than just hardware. Hi, I'm Ben and you're watching XDA TV. If you haven't already, please take a second and subscribe to our channel so you can keep up to date with all our latest coverage on mobile technology. So the 2022 Motorola RAZR launched in China in August, starting at 6,000 Chinese yuan for the 8GB RAM 128GB storage variant. 6,000 Chinese yuan converts to around $890 US, so that's a major price drop from previous Motorola RAZR foldables, which sold at up to $1,500 US. So looking at it from the perspective of someone in China who can buy this phone officially, this phone presents a pretty good value. You have a 6.7-inch 2400 by 1080 OLED display with a refresh rate that jumps up to 144Hz. So animations on the screen look buttery smooth. Although to be honest, I can't quite tell the difference between 144Hz and 120Hz. Just like the first two RAZRs, this phone folds completely flat, and when unfolded, you can't really see the crease at all. If you really want to dig for it, you can see the crease, but generally speaking, it's a lot harder to see and feel than the crease in the Samsung Galaxy Z Flip 4's display. The crease can stay halfway folded in place, which is what Samsung calls flex mode. And flex mode is great because it opens up a bunch of new ways to use a phone. This 6.7-inch display has a 20:9 aspect ratio, which is a little bit wider than the Flip 4's 22:9 aspect ratio. I'm a fan of Motorola's aspect ratio because it's a little bit wider than the Flip 4, which is a little bit hard to type with two hands. I also like the RAZR's outside display more than the Flip 4's because it's a larger screen so you can see more. In fact, Motorola lets you run any app you want in its full form on the outside screen. To be honest, most apps are unusable running on still a relatively small screen, but you can do some stuff like read emails or watch YouTube videos on the outside display. There's a 3500 mAh battery inside, which can be topped up using the included 33-watt charging brick. The phone comes with 8 or 12 gigs of RAM, and with the Qualcomm Snapdragon 8 Plus Gen 1 chip, general performance, it's very good other than the cameras, but battery life is just okay. If you're a heavy user like me, don't expect the RAZR to be able to last a full 12 or 13 hour day out and about. But on a lighter usage day, like on a day when you're mostly stuck in the office, the RAZR's battery life should be fine. So we're just talking about how the hardware look and feel in my hands. I like the RAZR more than the Flip 4. But the Flip 4 wins in several areas. It has wireless charging and has IPX8 water resistance. Just like the Flip 4, the Motorola RAZR has a dual main camera system on the outside and a selfie camera on the inside screen. And while the specs of the camera hardware are more than respectable, the photography experience of the RAZR is just frustrating and falls far behind the Flip 4's. The biggest problem with the RAZR's camera is that there is this phantom shutter bug, where the phone would just start snapping photos on its own even when I'm not touching the screen at all. If I look through my photo gallery right now, there are a bunch of random photos of like the ground of my feet that I did not try to take. Those were accidental shots. And this unit I'm testing is not a pre-production unit. This is an official retail unit purchased from China. And popular reviewer Michael Fisher, aka Mr. Mobile, he also has a unit that he's testing right now, and he says his unit suffers from the same problem. Perhaps a software update down the line will fix this problem, but even then, the Motorola RAZR's cameras are just not that good. If I do everything right, like I stand perfectly still and lighting is great, then yeah, sure, the 50 megapixel camera can produce a great looking photo. But otherwise, the shutter speed is slow, resulting in a lot of blurry shots, and the RAZR's image processing is just not on par with any major smartphone brand. So if I'm shooting against harsh backlight, for example, you get a lot of blown out highlights that every other phone would be able to fix. The Flip 4's cameras are just more consistent in every single area. But none of this is really new because the last two Motorola foldable phones also have pretty mediocre cameras. The RAZR one's on Android 12 with Motorola's software skin on top called MyUI, and it's fine. Google apps can be installed easily and they work perfectly fine on the phone. The software is full of customization options and shortcut gestures, including some of those quirky Motorola ones like chop the phone twice to turn on the flashlight. So like I said, this phone's only selling in China right now, so most of you guys watching this cannot buy it easily. But if this thing launched in the US or internationally eventually, I'm hoping Motorola will at least fix that random shutter bug. But even if Motorola fixes that shutter bug, I think this phone still has to sell at a cheaper price than the Flip 4 to make a compelling case to consumers. Because even though this phone looks sleeker and sexier than the Flip 4, there's more to a phone than just looks and hardware. The Flip 4 is just so much more polished in so many ways. So that wraps it up for this review. Once again, I'm Ben and you're watching XDA TV. If you haven't already, please subscribe to our channel so you can keep up to date with all our latest content. Thanks for watching.